Hello listeners, this is the continuing video of Mahabharat audio series. This video will be regarding chapter number 73. It's about the passing of Bhishma. It was the 10th day of the battle. Keeping Shikhandin in front of him, Arjun attacked Bhishma. When Shikhandin's darts pierced his breast, sparks flew from Grandizire's eyes. For a moment, the old warrior's anger rose like a flaming fire, and his eyes glared as if to consume Shikhandin. But at once, the Grandizire restrained himself. He decided not to provoke into fighting Shikhandin, who was born a woman, and to strike whom it seemed unworthy of a warrior. He knew, however, his end was near, and calmed himself. Shikhandin went on discharging his arrows, not minding the battle of emotions in his opponent's mind. Arjun also steeled his heart, and from behind Shikhandin aimed arrows at the weak points of Bhishma's armor, even while the Grandizire stood still. Bhishma smiled as the arrows continued to come down thick on him, and turning to the Shashan said, "Ah, these are Arjun's arrows. These cannot be Shikhandin's, for they burned my flesh as the crab's young ones teared their mother's body." Thus did the Grandizire look upon his dear pupil's arrows, and while saying this to the Shashan, he took up a javelin and hurled it at Arjun. Arjun met it with 3 arrows, which cut it to pieces, even as it was speeding through the air. Bhishma then decided to end the combat and made as if to dismount from his chariot, sword and shield in hand, but before he could do so, his shield was cut to pieces by Arjun's arrows, with arrows sticking all over his body so thickly that there was not even an inch of intervening space. Bhishma fell headlong to the ground from his chariot. As he fell, the gods who looked on from above folded their hands in reverent salutation, and a gentle breeze, laden with fragrance and cool raindrops, swept over the battlefield. Thus fell the great and good Bhishma, the son of Ganga. Ganga, who came on earth to hallow it and all it bears. The blameless hero who, unasked, made the great renunciation to give joy to his father. The undefeated bowman who had humbled the pride of Rama of the axe. The selfless worker for righteousness' sake, thus rapid his step to Duryodhan, and lay wounded to death, sanctifying with his life blood the battlefield. As the Grandizire fell, the hearts of the Kauravas also fell along with him. Bhishma's body did not touch the ground on account of the arrows sticking all over his body. His body shone more brightly than ever before, as it lay as on the bed of honor, supported by the shafts that had pierced his flesh. Both armies ceased fighting, and all the warriors came running and crowded round the great hero who lay on his bed of arrows. The kings of the earth stood with bowed heads round him, as the gods round Brahma. "My head hangs down unsupported," said the Grandizire. The princes who stood near ran and brought cushions. The old warrior rejected them with a smile, and turning towards Arjun said, "Dear son Parth, give me a cushion befitting a warrior." When Arjun saw arrows were just then burning the Grandizire's flesh, heard those words addressed to him, he took 3 arrows from out of his quiver and so placed them that the Grandizire's head found support on their points. "Princes," said the Bhishma, addressing the assembled chiefs, "Arjun's arrows were indeed what my head required to be supported on. This pillow gives me satisfaction. Now I must lie thus until the sun turns north. My soul will not depart till then. When I pass away, those of you who may be alive then may come and see me." Then the Grand Desire turned again to Arjun and said, I am tormented with thirst. Give me some drinking water. At once, Arjun raised his bow and drawing it to the ear, shot a shaft down into the earth near the Grand Desire on his right side up, the opening made by the arrow. There gushed a stream of pure sweet water to the very lips of the dying man. Ganga came up, says the poet, to quench her dear son's burning thirst. Bhishma drank and was happy. Duryodhan, may you be wise, said Bhishma, addressing the Kaurav prince. Did you see how Arjun brought me water to quench my thirst? Who else in the world can do such a deed? Make peace with him without further delay. May the war cease with my exit. Listen to me, son, make peace with the Pandavas. The Grand Desire's words did not please Duryodhan, even when dying. The patient does not like medicine. He objects to the bitter taste. All the princes retired to their camps. Chapter 73 finishes here. Keep listening Mahabharat audio series in the next videos.